Now I'm ready to rock. So, hey guys, I'm David Radney. I'm by B-Rad. I appreciate you guys letting me be here today to talk to you about commission and defending your commission. I wanted to know if it was okay if I started off and tell you a story about something that happened to me. All right, so I'm looking around the room, first of all. You're the only person I see wearing a name tag. Anybody else have a name tag they're rocking? No. All right, so here's how the story starts. I wear my name tag everywhere. I was living in Dallas. I was dropping my daughter off at school. And one of the fathers saw that I was a real estate agent. And he pulled me aside and he was like, hey, you're in real estate. Our house has been on the market. It hasn't sold. Do you mind coming out and talking to us about getting our property sold? And I'm like, no problem. Followed him right to his house, took a look at it. He said, can you come back tonight when my wife is here and present to us? And I was pretty fired up because up until that point, the largest house I had sold was like 450. This was like an $800,000 house. So in my head, I'm like, this is going to be a pretty big property for me. I was pretty excited about it. At 6%, it's 48 grand, right? So I go home, I run my comps, I get prepared for the meeting. I come out and meet with him and his wife. I do a decent job. This is before push. Like I didn't know everything I know now, but I did a decent job. And so towards the end, as I'm wrapping up, I'm like, well, all we have to do now is sign the paperwork. And up until that time, the husband did all the talking. Like the wife sat there, she was taking notes. She didn't say anything. And as I'm saying, okay, all we need to do now is sign the paperwork. She said, well, hold on for a minute. What's your commission? She did one of these. What's your commission? She's looking at me. I'm like, 6%. And she was like, oof, we're only going to pay 5. Will you do it for 5? And so in my head, I'm thinking, I have been calculating 48,000, like this is going to be great commission. In my head, I'm thinking, it's still 40 grand at 5%. And so I was like, sure, I'll do it for 5. And I just lowered my commission to 5. They signed the paperwork, right? And I'm excited. I was a little disappointed, but I was excited because it's still a big commission. And the husband, Larry, he said, Dave, let me walk you out to your car. So he's walking me out. We're talking. He's like, hey, I'm super excited about working with you. I think you're going to do a good job. And he said, but I got to tell you, I was pretty surprised you didn't fight harder for your commission. And when he said that to me, I got in my car and I was like, I didn't know how to fight for it. Like I wanted the business and they were like, I'll give it to you if you do it for 5. And I just dropped my commission to 5. And when he said that to me, I made up in my mind right then and there, never again. Like I'm never gonna let that happen again where I give up. And so that's why I wanted to talk to you guys. And I don't stand up here and talk. I like to sit down and have a conversation. Can I do that? Can we have a conversation about scripts and commission? The reason why I'm here today is I don't want you guys to have that situation where you have to defend your commission and you don't know how. So I want you guys to be honest with me right now. If you guys were in that same situation I was in, and you thought you were getting 6, and they said, would you do it for 5? We'll sign with you right now for 5. How many of you guys would take it at 5%? Let me look at these people right there. Be honest with me. You take it at 5?
I know it's wrong, but I was.
We would all take it, right? So here lies the problem. If you take it at 5, you'll get 5. How much room is there between 5 and 6%? We'll talk about today. There's so much room to negotiate between 5 and 6%. The issue is most of us don't know how to have that conversation. We don't know how to defend our commission. And I think before we even get into objection handling and how to defend your commission, I think a lot of us don't even understand what our value is. And we don't really know our worth. It's the biggest issue. Who believes they're a 6% real estate agent right now?
They're like real estate.
I know that too. Tell me your first name again.
Lourdes.
Lourdes. Your hand kind of did like an alligator. Like, do you believe it? Like, or are you kind of halfway there?
No, I believe I'm a 6% commission. Sometimes depending on the price point, I think that's a lot of money
Okay.
for what we do. I mean, and not that I don't go all out for my client, but it's a difference between a $300,000 to $400,000 home at
Right.
6% versus an $800,000 or $900,000 home at 6%.
Right.
I can let everyone in. We want just
Okay.
Because that one will look a little better
Okay.
with the screen behind you. Perfect. All right, cool. That's more visually appealing for those on Zoom.
So Lourdes, I gotta be honest with you, when I hear agents say that, like, you don't see your worth but you just think at a certain price point, like 2 million, you feel like 6%, it is a lot of money. And that's why when you get into luxury listings, the commission tends to drop down closer to like 4. However, I see myself as a 6% agent, the value importantly, what my sellers get because they hired me, they get that back and more. I hope to work to convince you of that so you don't feel some type of way about charging 6% because I want you to know what your worth is. And so you guys feel the exact same way you would take it at 5. Here's what your mindset needs to be. Number one, you got to have a shift with your mindset. And I talk about this all the time. When you go to a listing consultation, they're not interviewing you. Your mindset needs to be, I'm interviewing them to see if I even want to take this listing. Are they motivated? Are they coachable? The guy we were talking about earlier, I don't know if the motivation's there, definitely doesn't seem very coachable. We'll see.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they're motivated and coachable. And when I sit down, I'm not sitting down there with the mindset of, oh, I hope they choose me. I hope they give me this listing. I'm sitting down saying, do I want it? Am I willing to walk away if they're not coachable, if they're not willing to price it correctly, if they're not willing to pay me what I'm worth? Am I willing to get up and do this? See ya. Most of us aren't. That's called what? When we are willing to sit down and say or do anything. Do you guys know what that's called? Yes, yes. Just being desperate. We call it having commission breath, which really means you'll lower your commission, you'll overprice it, you'll promise all these things. Yeah, I'm 24/7, I'm always around. You can call me anytime. We'll promise everything because we're so desperate for the opportunity. And you got to stop doing that. So the conversation I want to have is about defending the commission. So I want somebody to, can we kind of role play this out? Anybody want to role play with me? Okay, and then come in. So you're the seller, I'm the agent, and we're sitting down, we've gone through the entire listing presentation, right? And we're at the point where we're signing paperwork. And you ask me my commission, I tell you, you ask me if I'll lower my commission, that's where we are. So ask me what my commission is.
What's your commission rate?
My commission is 6%.
Okay, well, can you do 4%?
No. Do you have any other questions?
Why not? I have other agents that have been in, they're willing to do 2%, some of them.
I completely understand that. So let me ask you a question here. If you hire like 10 agents to sell your home, do you think they will all sell it for the same price, or do you think there will be different price points they would sell it at?
I mean, I don't know how the agents work, but, you know, I'll go with the one that's offering the 2%.
So for you, it's really about the commission, right? That's what you hear me saying. But if you hired 10 people and they all went out and marketed your property different ways, do you think all the offers would come in at the same price point, or do you think there'll be different offers that come in?
I'm sure there'll be different offers.
Yep, and why is that? Why would they all be different and not the same?
I mean, I'm sure everyone's not willing to pay the same price for the home.
Right. And what else? What else could those agents do to bring you in higher price offers?
I mean, I guess the marketing.
Marketing, okay, so that's one thing, marketing. What else? Anybody else want to throw something in? Why would those offers come in at different price points with different agents? Anybody know?
Staging.
Staging, okay, that could be one.
Prospecting.
Prospecting, okay, especially reverse prospecting, if you guys know about that. Prospecting, finding people, bringing those people in, getting them to compete. What else? No wrong answers, what else?
Open houses.
Open houses, interaction at open houses. So you can see that those offers may vary, right?
Right.
If you have a lot of different people. So here's my question. You're asking me to lower my commission. I'm sure out of all those offers that come in, you want to accept the offer that's going to be the highest for you, right? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And you mentioned to me that you've already had agents that have told you they would do it for a lot less. Can I tell you why that should be a red flag for you?
Sure.
Okay, so you're meeting with all these agents, you're having conversations with different agents about selling your home, right? So really your only experience with those agents and how well of a job they can do for you are the meetings they have. with them to interview them. Would you agree with that? Right? So if they're showing you that they can't even negotiate and defend their own commission when they're in front of you, what do you think is going to happen when they're out on the front line selling your house to other buyers and other agents and you're not around? Do you think they're going to actually protect your equity if they can't even protect their own income?
Yeah. Yes.
It's something to think about, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and I hear you saying that 6% is a high commission. Let me ask you, are you familiar with why the commission is structured the way it is, around 6%?
Actually,
Can I explain it to you? All right, so the standard real estate commission is 6%, and I have six $1 bills here, right? So the way it works is 3% goes to the buyer agent, 3% stays with the seller agent. So automatically 3% is off the table, right? 1% goes to the brokerage. We have to pay our brokerage. 1% goes to our favorite uncle, Uncle Sam, right? And then I'm left with this percentage. So out of this percentage, there are a couple of things that have to happen. I have to take care of my family, right? I have a mortgage to pay, I have kids, right? So I have to pay my expenses. And the other half is for marketing. Do you see how that works?
yeah.
Yeah. So these agents that are coming in and wanting to discount their commission to earn your business, do you think your broker is still expecting to get paid and will get paid? No matter what, right? Do you think Uncle Sam is expecting his money and wants to get paid and will get paid, right? Right. So that agent is still left with this. So the question I have for you is, where do you think they're cutting? Are they cutting paying themselves, or are they going to cut somewhere else? They're going to cut somewhere else. And that only somewhere else that they can actually cut is how they market your home to get you top dollar. And if they're not marketing your home effectively, that's why we can see those disparities and offers that come in, because they aren't spending the right money on marketing. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, based on our conversation, do you feel comfortable with me? Do you feel confident that I can actually sell your home?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to suggest is that we go ahead and just get the paperwork signed at 6% so I can get your house on the market. Would that be okay?
Perfect. I think that would work.
What if we have that type of discussion? What do you guys think about what I just said? Does it sound like a seller would buy into that, or are you guys like, that's bullshit, that's not gonna work?
I think a seller would buy into that because you explained the reasons why the 6% is the way it is. Like,
Yes.
we had to get that 6% because at the end of the day, you still gotta eat. And everything else pretty much goes to marketing,
That's right.
brokerage, understand.
That's right. And we have to be very confident when we deliver that. Like for me, in the beginning, when I was attempting to defend my commission, I didn't really know what to say. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this is my next paycheck. If I don't agree with them, I'm going to lose this opportunity. And they're just going to hire the other agent that's charging less. That's not true, though. They just don't understand how commission works, and they don't understand the value. And I can't tell you. So the biggest thing we fall into here is we like to tell people, don't hire somebody that discounts their commission. They're not going to do a good job for you. When we're telling people, they hear us, but they think it's our opinion. The way I walked you through it, you kind of said it yourself, where they're not going to work as hard because they're going to be cutting corners. When I get the seller to come to that same conclusion through asking questions and making a demonstration like this, it's fact. However, we have to be very comfortable doing this. We have to feel comfortable pulling out these $6 bills and having this discussion. We can't say, well, we can't be stumbling over our words, which is what we end up doing a lot of times. We should have these $6 bills. We should be sitting down and role playing that example out with our role play partners till we can't get it wrong. But the most important thing is we got to believe that that's true. We have to believe that we will do a better job for them when they pay us what we're worth. And so there are a lot of different ways to handle that, but right now that's the main one. Really quickly, all of you guys, I can't even see faces. All you guys on Zoom, let me see if I can figure out how to see if there are any questions, because I'm notorious about forgetting to check Zoom. Just want to make sure you guys don't have any questions. All right, let me go to the chat. All right, we'll send you the recording. They're recording it so you can watch it later. All right, I see you guys. You get 6%. Ariane, I know you I knew you will. Jane, do you have reception now? Can you actually see the stream? Oh, there you go. You got it. All right, cool. Courtney, I'll make sure you get the recording. I'm gonna have them send it to me so you can reach back out to me and I'll make sure you have it. Sorry guys, just have to do an update. I gotta remember I'm working here and working back here. So let me ask you guys this. What's your biggest fear about someone asking you about your commission? What concerns you about that?
That they might not give you the listing just because of the commission.
Right? Are you willing to walk away if you're not getting what you're worth? Or are you gonna take a listing and get underpaid? Be honest, would you take a listing where they're paying you 4 and you think you're worth 6?
After doing that example though, you gotta walk away, then give it to you, because then you look dumb.
Well, so
Right? Like,
I won't say you look dumb. I will say that everything's negotiable. And after doing this example, they don't want to give it to you, then you can negotiate. And there's plenty of different ways to negotiate. As an example, I don't lower my commission. My listing commission is always 3%. Where we have room is what we pay to the buyers. We can pay out, if less commission is important to you, we can pay the buyer agent 2.5%. Let me tell you why we shouldn't. However, if commission is really important to you, this is where we can actually reduce the commission. Mine will always be 3. I don't negotiate what I list property for. We can negotiate down to 2.5% to the buyer's agent, but let me tell you why we shouldn't. And then I give an example of why we shouldn't. Can you guys tell me why we wouldn't want to decrease out what we're paying a buyer's agent?
Who's my buyer's agent?
I can. Hi, sorry guys, it's Pam.
What's up, Pam?
Sorry about interrupting. Hi, how are you, Dave?
I'm good.
Yeah, I had this recently happen where I did a 6% presentation, and you know the seller thought about it. I didn't get the listing right away. One of the big producers in town gave him a lower discounted rate. They got it over me. I obviously didn't even say like I was going to lower my commission, because at that point they had made up their mind.
Right.
I think that's a struggle for me, where it's like I usually go for the 6%, but if an agent that's like top producing in platinum and they're doing 5% or less than that, how do you stand up against that? You know, when you know that they have the record of most sales.
That's a tough one. Like, you're gonna have some top agents, and the reason they get a lot of listings is because they do discount their commission. And if you're here at 6% and you're up against a top agent and they're doing it at 5%, then for me, that's why it's so important that we pre-qualify. I'm looking at the TV and I should be looking at you over here. I'm sorry, I'm getting turned around.
It's okay.
The reason you want to do that, when I pre-qualify, one of my questions are you interviewing other agents? If so, cool. I want to go do my research, because a lot of times people are saying they're interviewing the top agent and they actually might have a lot of sales, but it doesn't necessarily mean the metrics are what the seller's looking for. What are days on market? What's list price versus sales price ratio? I look at all of that, because just because someone's #1 in the area doesn't mean they're getting their sellers top dollar when they sell a home. So I like to run those comparisons, Pam, to make sure if you're looking apples to apples, if I'm a better agent, my track record's higher, I'm going to bring that up. Because ultimately, if they're looking to save commission, it's really not about the commission like we all know, it's about what they net in their pocket when they sell the house. And so if I can show them that even though that's a top agent and I net my sellers more, that's what they're really looking for. And so I turn that conversation around to what they net versus commission. However, if that agent does net more than I do, then it's hard to have that argument. And that's the issue we have with so many people discounting their commission. They're making it harder for all of us because they have great stats. They have such great stats that they should be charging 7, but instead they're lowering their commission, and they don't need to, and they shouldn't. And it makes it really tough. That's one of my major frustrations, with the industry right now, Pam.
Yeah, same. I mean, there was, like you said, I kind of was like I couldn't say anything. I was just like, all right, well, you have a great agent. I never say anything bad. It's like, oh, did you think bad about them? I'm like, no, they're a great agent. I'm sure you're going to be happy, at the end of the day. So And to answer your question, because you asked like, what's the issue with like somebody taking a discount, what do you call it, commission, the split is gonna be 2% versus a 2.5, so agents are gonna be looking more at the 2.5 listings or 3% listings for the buyer's agent side versus the one that's like a 2%, which is typically a discount one.
Which is right. However, Pam, if we were all on the up and up, we shouldn't be looking at the commission we're getting paid when we go out and show a listing. However, if we're all being honest, we all look at it, right? And if it's an apples and apples property and one is paying 3 and another one's paying 2 or 2.5, I'm definitely going to make sure my people go see the one paying 3 if I have an opportunity to make more money. I think that's just human, right? And so a big part of marketing the property is price. That's the biggest part. It's probably 80% of the heavy lifting, making sure it's priced correctly. But then also the commission you're paying out is a big deal as well. People want to get their payday, especially buyer's agents. It's been tougher for them to get paid because there's so much competition. And so if I can show them on my listing, you have an opportunity to make more, they're going to be pushing people to come see this house. The market's getting tighter. So I always make that argument to sellers. We can reduce what we pay them. Here's why we shouldn't. And if what you net is more important, then we got to talk about a pricing strategy that's going to bring in more people to see this home. If we price it correctly, we can create an auction effect. I don't want to get into that because this is a commission class, but we can talk to them about how we can position the house on the market to get more people in and potentially sell it for more money, right? So the other thing around commission, so we talked about the example, how this works, right? What else can we say if someone's pushing back on our commission? I go through this whole example and they say, yeah, but you know what? I still want to go with this person who's charging me 5. What else could we say to defend our commission and still win the opportunity? Anybody on Zoom, anybody here in the classroom? No? What else you could say, what else you would do? Or would you guys just take the listing at 5 and call it a day? You can ask for 5.5. You can ask for 5.75, right? Before I started lowering my commission though, what I would always suggest is if I bring a buyer in and I represent you on the buyer, at that point, I will discount my commission down to 5 and 5.75 or 5.5. How often does that happen that we represent both sides? I know for me, it wasn't very often. I think maybe I did it 2 or 3 times. So it doesn't happen very often, but it's a way to allow the seller to feel like they're winning because you are compromising. Hey, if I represent both sides, I'll lower it down to this. Chances that that's going to happen are slim. And if they do happen, you're getting 5.5 versus the 3 you were getting. You're still coming out ahead. So I would go there first with the negotiation before I started lowering the entire commission down. I would make it contingent on if I brought a buyer in. Now, if I didn't, could we negotiate instead of 6? Could we do 5.9? Could we do 5.85? Could we do 5.75? Could we do 5.65? There's all this room. But what we tend to do is we jump from 6 all the way down to 5. We got to stop doing that because we're leaving so much money on the table. There's an agent in the Ridgewood office, I'm not going to name any names, who notoriously takes 5. Had a phenomenal year last year. I sat down and I ran through their numbers. If they just charged 5.25 instead of 5%, they would have made over 100 grand more. Just that little bump. Isn't that crazy? And we say to our sellers all the time, don't leave equity on the table when you sell this home. You want to pull all your equity out, don't you? And the sellers are like, absolutely. And we leave our equity on the table every time we discount our commission. I'm not telling you that you won't have to. There are going to be times where you want the listing, the seller's motivated, they're stuck on commission, and you're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have to negotiate. It happens. However, what I'm telling you is you need to know how to defend your commission because you can get a higher commission if you know how to have that conversation. You don't have to drop it from 6 down to 5. It's a matter of being comfortable with the conversation that you're having with that seller. And it's more important, you feeling comfortable and confident in who you are and knowing what type of work you put into selling property, marketing property, getting them through to the closing table. And I just want to go off a little bit here and say this. This is why we need to do a better job of, as real estate agents, of documenting what we do every day. Sellers and buyers have no clue what we do. Most people's impression of us is that we're glorified door openers and that we're overpaid for the work we do. However, if you sat down and you wrote out a list of everything we do, soup to nuts, from the time we meet with them to the time we close that property, there's so much work that we actually do. We just don't show it. So when we come in and we say we're charging 6%, they feel like it's a lot of money. They really do. But they're paying for the results you give them. They're paying for your experience. They're paying for so much with that. Have you guys heard the story about the ship repairman? Have you guys heard this? Like, a big yacht stopped working, the motor stopped working, and they called this repairman in to fix the issue. And he shows up with his bag and he sets his bag down and he's looking around, writing notes, and he looks up at the propeller. He's taking some notes. He reaches down in his bag, grabs his hand, boop, he hits it in one spot and starts working again. And everybody's super happy. Thank you so much for fixing our boat. We got to do all this stuff. Thank you so much. Send us the bill. So he sends the bill, and the bill was for 10 grand. And they were like, dude, you were here for like 2 minutes. And I was like, you're good. How is it 10 grand? I need you to itemize everything and send it back to us, right? So he itemized it. It was like $9,900 is my experience. The hammer hit was $100. They're paying for your experience and your expertise, your knowledge of the market, your understanding of pricing the property, your understanding of knowing where to market the property. How many of us know how to do reverse prospecting in here? Okay. I forgot to tell you my rule.
I know you're wrong. Sorry.
I'm gonna tell everybody my rule now. It doesn't count because I didn't say it. If your phone rings in class, it's $25 to KW Cares. 25 bucks. I probably should make it higher. It's 25. This rule is set up for a reason, though. I learned this valuable lesson early on in my career in Dallas. I door knocked and expired. They gave me the appointment. I went in, I met with them, and they asked me to come back in the evening and present. They were interviewing the top agent in Dallas. Top, like, this guy sold everything. And immediately the drunk monkey set in. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not getting that, right? There's no way I can get it against this guy. But I still went and prepared. I did my comps, I did everything. I showed up, did my presentation. They said, thank you for coming, we'll let you know tomorrow. And I walked out saying, I did my best, but I know it's a wrap, right? The next morning, my phone rings. And they called me and they said, hey, Dave, we're excited to let you know we chose you, we're going through you. I was happy, but I was like, really? So I said to them, I'm like, well, thank you so much. I'd love to get some feedback. Can you tell me why you chose me over the other person? You know what they told me? His phone rang twice during his listing presentation and he answered it. And they just found him to be so rude. I was like, okay, lesson learned. I'm not taking my phone in, or if I do, I'm making sure it's on silent. And I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to focus on them because it's all about them. That taught me a valuable lesson, because even now, we all do this with our Apple Watches. For us, we're looking to see who sent us a quick text. To the seller, it's like we're busy and we don't have time. And there are other things on our mind that is more important than meeting with them. So I learned a valuable lesson just to stay plugged in. Sorry, I just had to say that. I know I jump around a lot, but I feel like that's so important to know, because sellers, they feel some type of way about that. This is their biggest asset they're selling. They're sitting down with you. They want to know they have your undivided attention. Now, if you have kids and you have something going on, you can say, hey, I have my kids, they're with the babysitter. I have my phone here in case there's an emergency. Is that okay? Everybody's going to be okay with that. But just answering your phone, like doing a sales call when you're at a presentation, it's a no-no. So here's what I want to say. This commission piece to me is like the most important thing, because this is how we take care of our family. And every time we say yes to reducing our commission, we're saying no to something else in our lives. That's the biggest thing that I don't think a lot of us think about. For me, I got a 17-year-old looking at colleges right now. If I'm saying yes to reducing my commission, I'm saying no to putting more money in her college fund, my retirement fund, taking that vacation I want to take, like all those things we need to be thinking about. And so we have to know how to show our value. We have to show them why we're 6%. I asked you guys who does reverse prospecting, who knows what that is. 2 people raised their hand. You 2 would have a leg up over the other agents at a listing appointment because you can articulate your value and what you do differently than the other agents. We have to learn how to show our value. Commission objections are really an issue when there's an absence of value. So for us to be successful, and this is what I teach in Push, is learn how to show your value every step of the way. And the biggest way we can make sure a commission's not going to be an issue is making sure that we understand what's super important to the seller about getting their home sold. It starts even before you show up at their house. It starts when you're finding out motivation. It starts when you pre-qualify. It starts when you send them a pre-listing package showing everything you do to market the property and your stats and your performance in real estate. And then more importantly, it starts when you get to their house and you say to them, tonight, we're going to make a decision whether you choose to hire me or if I choose to take your listing, and either one is okay. When we say that, we're showing them we're willing to walk away. But here's the thing I'll tell you. When they see that you're willing to walk away, they won't let you. However, we have to feel confident in doing this thing. Well, thank you for your time. At that commission, I'd rather turn you down and let you down. At that price, I'd rather turn you down than let you down. We have to feel comfortable doing that. We don't. You know why we don't? I'll let you guys tell me why we don't. This week, we're at Friday. How many people have spent more than 2 hours a day making phone calls, finding opportunities for new business every day this week? How's the alligator on? I need you to be like, I did that shit, David, that's me. You did it?
Me.
Okay, 1, 2, no one else though,
Me
right?
on the line.
Right,
Pam.
Pam, so Pam, tell me your first name again? Salome?
Yes.
So only 2 people, unless other people are chiming in and I can't see it. That's the biggest issue. I could sit here and talk to you guys about this all day, but if you aren't making your calls, you're never even gonna be in front of a seller to have this conversation. Right? That's the biggest thing. Like I'm gonna check myself here because I'm not gonna start preaching because I can start preaching, as you guys know. But that's our biggest issue. We are not doing our job to even give us this opportunity. And if we were doing our job the way we should, and we had a pipeline of people that were looking to sell their house and put their house on the market, when we had that 1 or 2 people who weren't willing to pay us our worth and weren't willing to pay the price of the house correctly, we feel comfortable getting up and walking away. The reason we end up discounting is because that's the only thing we have. That's the only thing we have. I remember making calls for like 2 weeks and I had one appointment. And the minute the seller said, come out and meet with me, I dropped everything. I stopped making my calls. I went home, I changed clothes. I went to their house. I like ran to their house because they were like, come meet with me. And I had such commission breath. I was willing to do and say anything to get the business. If I was doing my job correctly though, and I had that pipeline filled, I wouldn't have to do that. You guys shouldn't have to do that. Does that make sense? What's your takeaway from what I just said right now? As we hear about 30% of the agents leaving real estate this year because they're not having success, what do you guys take away from what I just shared?
We need to work a little bit harder. Getting out there.
Yeah. What's keeping us from doing that?
Motivation, I guess. Motivated.
Not motivated. Is it motivation or is it fear?
Fear.
For you, it's motivation though.
I just started.
Oh, you just started.
Yeah,
that's
we.
Listen, I want you to talk because you're, listen, Being new is when you should be talking the most because you don't know what you don't know, and there are no stupid questions. Like you need to talk and figure it out. I will tell you though, motivation can be part of it. And the biggest thing about what we do, we can't sit around and wait for motivation. We can't.
What time could be worse?
I have the ability to watch my wife because she works at home. She works for Johnson & Johnson Pharmaceuticals. She's been in pharmaceuticals for 20+ years, right? She gets paid a salary, works her ass off every day, 10 hours a day, easy. She gets up and she does it every day. Do you know why?
Too motivated.
No, because if she don't do it, she ain't gonna get paid. They're gonna fire her. She won't have a job.
Yeah.
But she is motivated. Don't get me wrong. She is highly motivated. However, we all know if we work for somebody else, we show up on time, we do the work, it gets done, we check all the boxes, we get our reviews, we get our performance increase, right? When it comes to us though, we sit around and say, I'm not inspired today, I'm waiting on motivation. It's not about that. It's about, this is your job, you got to do it. You got to get comfortable with the boredom and focus, and making those calls every day is boring as hell. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not super exciting to sit down and say, I got to call 100 people today. It's just something that we have to do in order to have success in this business, so that we can get out in front of people and have these conversations. This is how we get paid. So, all right. What questions do you guys have for me? Because I want to talk about something, but I want to make sure I'm answering questions from the people here on Zoom. What's up, Tony? Great talking with you this morning. Glad you're here. What questions do you guys have for me? And I will tell you this, you guys are quiet. Real estate, you got to start speaking up. You got to start talking. Like, I'm not up here. This is a conversation. It's not me just talking at you. I want to talk with you. What are your concerns, you two being new? Like, what's your concern?
No, I'm waiting to get the business cards and I'm ready to start.
You ready to start?
I already told a couple friends and family that,
Yeah.
find their license.
Don't tell a couple. Everybody in that cell phone that you know.
I have the business card.
You don't need the business card.
Send it to them.
You don't need the business card. They have your number.
I'm like,
You don't need the business card. Just start talking about it right now. You can get on Canva and create your own little virtual business card and send that directly to them.
that's a tool, I didn't know.
Canva is an amazing tool. And here's the thing, as you're waiting for that card to come in and not making those calls, there's somebody that you know that's looking to buy right now that would use you, but they're not hearing from you because you're waiting on the card.
Yeah.
You'll send the cards when you get the cards. That's just another contact for you. But right now, everybody in your phone, it should be, hey, just wanted to let you know and remind you, I'm in real estate. Work for Keller Williams. I'll send you over my electronic business card. Who do you know that I should be talking to right now? Everybody that's in your phone book should be getting that phone call from you. Don't wait on anything.
No, right.
I'm serious.
That's good advice.
You gotta get after it. It's a contact sport. And it's gonna upset you in 2 weeks when you call them and they're like, oh, we just bought a house last week. That's gonna annoy you, especially because you could call right now and you didn't. So I would highly encourage you to get on the phone to call. Lourdes, what questions do you have for me?
Me?
Yep. Wait, go ahead.
So going back to the role play that you had before.
Yes.
What if I, as the seller, said, well, using your $800,000 home example, that 1% difference is $8,000. What are you doing extra for $8,000 in marketing? Can you break it down for me?
Yeah, you should be able to break down. So a couple of things with marketing that you do. Number one, again, with marketing, the most important thing is what? Price, where you price it. Does the marketing all cost you $8,000 if you itemized it up? It does not. I mean, even if you got fancy and you padded it, it doesn't add up, right? But there are costs that come up. There's social media advertising, running ads, doing broker opens, doing the open houses, bringing food in, doing the photography, doing the staging, doing the virtual tours, like all these things that you can do and spend money. You need to have a huge list to show them where that money is being spent. Just listed postcards, just sold postcards, like all the things that you do. You need to have a running list to show them what you do. I will tell you, in my 15 years of doing sales, I never had one person say, well, how much money are you spending on marketing? It doesn't come up like that, because I give them part of my pre-listing packet, which we all should be giving out before we get to the listing presentation. It shows them everything that I do to market their house. And it's such an extensive list, they're blown away by that, right? We have to show our value. We have to show what all that marketing gets for them. It's not about the commission. It's not about what we charge. It's not about any of that. It's about the results that we get for them. That's what we have to do a great job talking about. So if someone's pushing back on my commission, I take it away from commission. What you pay me is not important. It's what you put in your pocket at closing, right? So let me show you how I get you more money. I take it away from that conversation, because all they really care about is what they put in their pocket at closing. We just got to be comfortable taking it there. And we got to be willing to give those examples. If they tell me you don't spend $8,000, that's not happening. That conversation doesn't happen. I know you got to go. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Somebody was asking, do I get family discounts? You can't get family discounts. You can discount whatever you want to discount. Here's my rule of thumb. I have found in my experience, when you start discounting, people stay in your pocket the entire time. You think you're doing something like, hey, because I know you, I'm going to lower my commission. And then an offer comes in and the seller and the buyer can't negotiate and they're apart. They go to you and say, you and the other agent need to figure it out and put your commission in if you guys want this deal to work. Or when home inspections come in and the seller's like, I'm not replacing the boiler. You're going to have to go in your pocket. They stay in your pocket the entire time. So I don't tend to negotiate my commission down if it's a friend or a family member. I know people feel differently. I'm going to work hard for you like anyone else. And so my commission is my commission. However, if you feel obliged to give a family member a discount, go for it. I know my value. I know my value and I'm going to put the work in. I'm going to get you what you're looking for and I expect to get paid for what I do. Again, when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And if I'm giving the discount because I know you, then I'm not putting money into my daughter's college fund. This is more of a priority for me. So if you want me to discount my commission, no, I don't do that, but let me show you what I will do. If you do feel compelled to discount your commission, a couple of things that I always would tell you to say is, number one, I don't typically do this, so please don't share it with anyone, because then you become known as the person who discounts the commission. And they'll tell their friend, hey, I used David, he discounted his commission, see if he'll do it for you. So I make them promise that they won't share that information. And I always say, in return for me lowering my commission, I need to get referrals from you. So please send me a list of people that you know that might be looking to buy, sell, or invest that I can actually help. And that way they're helping me make up for that discounted commission. So I'm going to ask them not to share that. And I'm going to ask them for referrals if I am discounting my commission. Just don't want you guys to get into the mindset of discounting your commission. You're a professional. You shouldn't be doing that.
To bring a favor somebody, this is the person gives you more problem. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I have business.
Yes.
Oh my God, this is the person more problem.
That's what I'm saying. They stay in your pocket. You think you're doing them a favor, and it ends up being the worst transaction because they expect you to continue to reduce your fee. And it ends up being a curse, not a gift. And I've learned that. And sometimes people have to learn it the hard way, but I've learned that just from experience. I'd rather say no.
Think so.
And here's the thing, when you say no, you tend to say yes because you think they're going to walk away and not use you.
But it's better sometimes.
It's better sometimes, but half the time they still will work with you. If you're showing your value, which is one of the reasons why I say, no matter who you're sitting down with, you still want to follow all the steps. You still want to pre-qualify. You still want to show up and go through your entire presentation, whether it's your cousin, your mom, your best friend. You treat it like it's a business deal. You show them that, hey, this is me professionally, this is what I do, and they'll pay you a professional fee. But if you come in with your shorts on, you're like, hey, what's up? Talk to me. And you're so casual, they're going to expect you to give a discount. I treat everybody the same. Everybody goes through the same system. Everybody pays the same fee. I think that's the biggest thing we do with our friends and family. We expect them to hire us just because we have the connection, and they're gonna turn around and expect to get a discount because we have the connection. I'm treating you like I treat everybody else. I call you, I follow up, I show my value, I stay in touch. When it's time for us to work together, I'm expecting you to pay me what I'm worth and don't take money away from my family. Period. All right, let me see what other questions I have here. Amita, very good job. You got 2 showings from reverse prospecting. I love that. Denise, you're right. Don't be a secret agent. We got to have our name tag on. Your whys has to be bigger than your fears. Absolutely. I want it more than I fear it. And that's the last one. I want it more than I fear it is like one of my favorite affirmations that I use. And that's what allows me to go sit down with people and have these tough conversations and fight for my commission, because I want to have success in real estate more than I fear telling them no. I'm not afraid to say no. No, I will not lower my commission. Do you have any other questions? So strongest response. I learned that from Mike Ferry. That's my guy. And when I got to a point where I could say that and shut up after I said it, no, I don't lower my commission. You have any other questions? And I sit there and I would just be quiet, because the first person who speaks loses, right? So I would just sit there in silence. I would look at them and they look at me. I look at them and they look at me. Then they go, okay. And then they would sign the paperwork. The problem is we start talking. We start trying to convince, and then we lose. We got to just learn how to, but that's something you practice. Like that's all the stuff we're talking about, you should be practicing as part of your role play. We should be talking about how to defend our commission, why we get paid what we get paid. We should be able to give an example of where the commission's going. Most people don't know how commission works. And so when we can do this demonstration and explain it to them, a lot of them think we get the full 6. They don't even realize that half of it's already off the table. They don't think about the brokerage we have to pay. They don't think about Uncle Sam. They don't think about our expenses, the fact that we have to earn a living and that we have to market the property. They don't think about that, right? But that's a big piece. And when we get them to see that, and more importantly, when we get them to agree that an agent that lowers his or her commission probably isn't going to do the best job fighting for that seller's equity in their home, then they answer their own question. They're like, yeah, they're probably not going to fight hard enough. Well, that's why you want to hire me. You see, I'm a bulldog. I fight for my commission. I'm going to fight for your equity too, and make sure that even after you pay me, you walk away and you have more money in your pocket. And that's really what you want, right? It's all about what you net. That's the conversation we have to have. We got to have it with confidence. If they say, will you lower your commission? You're like, yeah, you've lost. It's no. Any other questions? Or it's, a lot of sellers ask me that same question. When I hear that, usually they're more concerned about what they net versus what they pay me. Is that the case with you? You're concerned with what you net? Yes. Well, let me show you how I net more for my sellers. That's a matter of knowing your stats. I know you guys are new, so you would be leaning on your office stats. How much does your office list property for? How much do they sell it for? If you have your own sales, you're looking at your stats and you know what your numbers are. We need to be the local economists of choice, which means we need to know our numbers. And when you're new, luckily you're part of a great office, right? You're part of a great company. You can lean back on the stats of your office and say, well, my office has, anybody know the stats here in the office, like list price to sales price here? No? Individually, do you guys know what your individual numbers are?
I think at the last meeting, they said it was like 98% or something like that.
For the office.
Mhm.
Do you know what it was for the MLS?
I don't remember.
Yeah, so if we knew that though, you can see the value of actually knowing that information and being able to say, my office is at 98, the local market's at 96 or 90, right, 95 or 96. So Mr. Seller, by hiring me, you're going to put 2% more in your pocket just by hiring me based on our sales experience. So I understand that you want to discount the commission 1%. However, if I can show you that even after paying my 6% commission, you're going to put 2% more in your pocket, I mean, that'd be a no-brainer, wouldn't it? Sure, well then let me show you, and then you pull out your stats, you pull out your numbers and you show them. We have to know those stats though. We have to know that information and know where to find it. We have to be very able to present that information, which means we gotta be practicing. That's the biggest thing. Make sense? All right, hold on a second. Yes, Ariane. Yes, the Ariane. So you guys will see what she wrote in there. WAIT. WAIT. It stands for why am I talking? This is why I told you guys after you say something, you just have to be quiet. And if you're talking too much, you might be losing the people that you're talking to. And so that acronym WAIT, sometimes you might need to have that tattooed on your arm somewhere. Like, I need to be quiet, I'm talking too much. You can talk yourself out of the opportunity. So what she wrote up on that board is huge. So let me wrap this up by saying this. I come to you guys and I talk based on my experience. Real estate's simple, it's not easy. There's so much that we have to know. There's so many objections that we get. There's so many questions that we need to be asking. And a lot of times we aren't making the calls that we need to make. I asked the question earlier, how many people are making the calls? And I had a very low response. What I have been finding out is that a lot of people aren't making the calls. Yes, it's fear, but it's not fear of the rejection. A lot of times it's the fear that a seller is going to say to you, okay, yes, come out and meet with me. And then you don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You don't know how to handle that opportunity.
It's my fear.
It's a lot of people's fear, including mine. And the reason why I come out here and I do these talks is because I remember what that felt like. I remember self-sabotaging. And what I mean by that is maybe I didn't make as many calls as I should have made that day. Maybe when I had someone on the phone, I didn't close as many times as I should have closed because I didn't want them to say yes. I just wanted to be able to say, yes, coach, I made the calls today. Yes, I talked to 10 people today. But I was afraid that if I really went in, they would agree to meet with me. And then I would show up and I wouldn't know what to say. And I remember going on appointments week after week after week. And I had gone to this training program where they talked to us about the Ford method. You guys know what the Ford method is? Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And they would tell you when you go on these presentations, you know, talk to them, get to know them, get a feel for them. So I would walk around people's house and I would say, oh, James Patterson, I read James Patterson too. I love those books. Oh, you fish. I love fishing too. Where do you fish? And we're having all these great conversations, right? Because I'm working to win them over so they like me. I remember this one for sale by owner in Ringwood. She had a garden and I started talking to her about my parents' garden when I was growing up and about zucchinis. And she was like, oh, I grow zucchinis. And she went and grabbed this huge zucchini. She brought it in. She was like, here, this is for you. And here's the recipe for my zucchini bread. And in my head, I'm like, this lady loves me. Like, we have connected. They're going to give me this listing. They really like me. They really like me. They really did. We had such a great conversation. But they shook my hand. They said, thanks for coming, and pushed me out the door. I didn't show my value. I didn't know what to talk about. I was just in their house talking about freaking zucchinis, and they're not looking for a chef. They're looking for a real estate agent that can show their house. And I didn't understand how to have that conversation. I didn't understand how to show my value. I wouldn't have understood how to do this and defend my commission. So I showed up and I checked the box, but I wasn't getting any deals. I wasn't getting listings, and I was putting in so much work making calls and going on appointments. And when it happens over and over and over again, it gets to a point where you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're coming to team meetings every day and so-and-so got 10 listings, so-and-so just capped, so-and-so just did 5 million. And you're looking at all these people around you and you want the win too. And it's like, well, what do I need to do that I'm not doing? And essentially what it is we got to perfect our craft. This is not like the market we had 2 years ago where you could graduate from real estate school, go to your uncle, list his house, sell it in one day, get multiple offers, and sell it over list price. It's not happening like that, right? These sellers, they're looking for agents that are skilled. that can show them what they can do and how they can do it and what the best outcome will be for the seller, we got to be able to have those conversations. We got to be able to overcome those objections that they give us. The objections are unanswered questions in the mind of the seller. So we got to go in and make sure they don't have any unanswered questions. And I will tell you, the best thing that I can tell you guys to do right now is stop waiting for the opportunity. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, which means if you start practicing the scripts and what to say and how to say it, when those opportunities come up, you're like, okay, I'm ready, let's go. If you don't do that, then you're going to be sitting around not really putting all the effort in because you're not prepared and you don't have the confidence that you could go out and convince someone that they actually should be working with you. Right? I stopped working to convince people and I started working more on connecting with people. The way I connect with a seller is by understanding why the hell they're trying to sell that house in the beginning. They don't care that I work for the #1 company in the MLS. They don't care my list price to sales price ratio. They don't care about any of that. I have to take some time and actually love on them and care about them first before they care about anything I have to say. So it's, why are you selling the house and why is that important? What's this move going to do for you? How are you going to feel once you're there? It's really understanding the problem they're having, what problem they're trying to solve. Once I can do that, I can overcome any objection. But first I need to know what's important to them and what they're looking to actually accomplish. So as newer agents, I would tell you guys, get into classes that are going to train you on the basics, how to talk, how to internalize scripts, how to overcome objections, how to go do a listing presentation. You should be in those training classes right now because that's going to build up your confidence and allow you to go sit down in front of a seller and know exactly what to say and how to say it and how to get your unfair share. I believe that with all of my heart. And that's the reason why I come out here, is to give examples on how easy this can be done if you just learn the script. It takes time to practice this. However, what's our average commission? Anybody in here know what your average commission is? Well, thank you, Tony. My numbers are, wow, 116%. That's really good, Ariane. I'm glad that you track it. Glad that you track it. You guys don't know what the average sales commission is here? 10,000? What do you think? About 12. $12,000 for every property you sell. That's a lot of money, right? It just requires that you know how to have a conversation. It requires that you have the training and that you understand exactly what to say. And more importantly, how to say it where a seller or even a buyer resonates with you and they want to work with you. Because you're not being condescending, but you're also not in there telling them what they want to hear. You know, one of the biggest things, whether you're overcoming commission objections or anything else, is being able to say to a client, can I be direct with you? And then be direct with them and tell them exactly what they need to hear so that they can make the right decision. You know, one of the biggest objection handlers that I give is I say, I'm not here to force you into making a bad decision. I want to give you all the information you need to make the best decision for you and your family. Whatever that is, I'm okay with. And that takes so much pressure off of them. I just want to give you the information. And then you come and you deliver the information. However, we have to learn to ask for the close at the end. We got to make sure that we're getting the business. So that's what I have to say about that. I need you guys to get on the phone so you can even have these conversations about commission. I need you to understand that someone will pay you what you're worth when you understand your worth and you understand how to defend your commission. They will pay you. I know tons of agents getting 6%. What questions do you guys have? I didn't convince you that 6% is the number though. Huh? I didn't.
No, I think you make a lot of really valid points. I agree with pretty much everything that you said. I do think that there's a big difference between 6% of 400,000 and 6% of 800,000. And I'm just trying to find how to articulate where that value is being provided.
Right.
That's what I struggle with.
Right. Well, I kind of look at it too, like it's gonna average out. You're gonna get some deals that are super smooth and they close very quickly. Should I get paid less because I close it quickly? No, but then I'm gonna have those deals that drag on for months and months, and I'm constantly working and the deals are falling apart and I'm putting it back on the market, doing open houses over and over again, and I'm working 10 times as hard on that deal. I'm not,
You're right about that.
yeah,
But I don't feel like that's that seller's responsibility to make up that shortfall. Right, especially the ones that have a really smooth transaction,
right,
you know,
yeah.
that's just your.
You have to get out of your head on that. You just gotta know that that's your number and it is what it is, just like a surgeon comes in, right? You have a life-threatening issue. If they solve it in 1 minute or 10 hours, they solved it. And they're getting paid what they're worth, because you're not just paying for the task, you're paying for the expertise too. All that they put into learning how to do that. All we know about learning how to market property effectively and how to reverse prospect and how to price correctly, like how to negotiate. They're paying for all of what we've learned. Right? And so it's the experience they're paying for as well. And some people might be thinking, well, I'm new, so I don't have the experience. I want you to start off at 6, though. I want you to start off knowing that you're a 6% agent and lean into it. It's the experience they're paying and the results that they're paying for. And they will pay it. But in your head, if you believe that at 800,000 it's not worth 6, they'll always be able to negotiate you down, because even you don't see why you should be getting 6. That I feel like that will hurt you.
You're right.
And I believe that you're worth it, and I need you to start seeing it that way as well, that you're worth it, because you are. You are. All right, so I'm gonna take 10 minutes. Anybody on Zoom have any questions for me? Anything that I can cover for you? Any questions about the script? Maria, no questions for me? No? Alexandra, Amita, who else I got on here? Denise, Eve, Abba, Michael, Penny, Rika, Cito, hey. What questions do you guys have? You got me for another 10 minutes. I'll talk about anything. If you got a question, throw it in the chat, or you can unmute. I don't care if you unmute. It's probably easier if you unmute. I get tired of reading the chats.
It was awesome.
What questions do you have though?
I don't really have any questions, because obviously I went through push, and so like this was really incredible to like learn, you know, just for reminders and stuff. But anybody there, if you haven't done push, please do it. Like seriously, this is when you get 2 hours twice a week with him, it's incredible. But anyway, I just, you know what, I have had that same mindset about like thinking, oh my gosh, it's so much. But the reality is everything's relative.
Okay.
To that seller that's selling a $2 million property, you're also going to spend a lot more money on an open house and on broker tours, and it's a whole other animal. And so, and it's also relative to them. You know, a car payment for a Rolls Royce is probably a lot. I can't even fathom paying it. However, if I was in the market for that, I would know that's what it would cost to have that car. And
Right.
those sellers also are willing to pay, because they're also making probably more money on their property. And so I've had to battle with that myself, and my self-worth and putting myself into their position. But our job isn't to think for them. Our job is to do our part. Right. I mean, that's like what I'm thinking. And so I'm as I'm saying this, it's not a question. I'm saying it to myself again, so that next time I don't sell out.
Yeah.
And get in their head, just do my part. And if they accept it and they're willing to pay it, great.
And most of the time they will be, and yet I'm not telling anybody, if they won't give you 6%, get in your car and drive away. There are times that we have to be negotiable, right? And so you just can't. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and I just did that recently, but it was also a situation where I wanted my sign on that street. So I made a marketing decision to cut my commission on the side of if I brought the buyer, then also, and so I cut it 1% for that part if I had both sides. But normally I wouldn't even do that, because if I did both jobs, I should get paid both sides.
I agree with you on that.
But I did it because I made a conscious decision going, okay, well, this is a great spot for me to have right now before spring market, a sign on the street that everybody drives by in my town. And
Yeah.
so that was a choice. That way,
That was
I
definitely a
called it
choice.
like advertising costs to to
And
you know.
you can chalk it up to that, and I can completely agree with that. But what if you said to the seller, I know you're interviewing agents, and one skill set an agent should have would be strong negotiating skills. Wouldn't you agree with that, Rika?
Absolutely.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and negotiate my commission right now? Would you be open to doing that with me right now?
Yes.
You just have to make me one promise, Rika. On your biggest asset, this is your biggest asset, right?
Yes.
If you can out negotiate me, don't hire me to represent your biggest asset. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah. And guess what that does? And then I sit for a little bit. I let them hear what I just said. I'm telling them right now, we're going to negotiate their commission. However, if they can out negotiate me, do not hire me. What it's telling them is all those agents they already met with, that they out negotiated with, they shouldn't want to use them. Because if they can out negotiate this agent, the other agents are going to be able to out negotiate that agent. What
Oh,
I'm
that's
doing,
beautiful.
I'm standing my ground. I'm going to stand my ground then at my 6%. And I'm going to say, this is why you want to hire me, because you want me fighting for your equity the exact same way, don't you?
Absolutely, David.
And they go for that. That works.
That was brilliant.
And so that's just another script. That's just another commission objection handler that we can use when we have people that we're talking to that are pushing back on paying us what we know we're worth. All right.
Another
thank
spin
you.
on that. If we're willing to give up our money, how quickly will we give up theirs when we're negotiating on price?
Yeah, guess what? We'll give it up very quickly because Rika, if I could role play with you again, I would say to you, Rika, if someone came to your job and your boss came in and said, we're going to cut your salary by 20%, but we still expect you to show up every day and put in the same work. How are you going to feel about that? And are you going to do it? Are you going to show up the same way with the same enthusiasm?
No.
No. But that's what you just did with these other agents. You cut their commission, you expect them to go to work for you. Doesn't work that way. And how is that going to impact what you can sell your home for if they're not excited about the job and the opportunity and they're not showing up every day putting in their best effort? How do you think that's going to negatively affect you? Those are the conversations you have to be willing to have.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you being here. All right.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So what are your thoughts about a listing agent? So you're going to co-list a property together and they ask you to do 70/30.
Ooh. So let me just make sure I understand what you're asking me. So is it your listing you found or their listing?
Their list.
So they have a listing they found, they want you to co-list it with them, but they're only giving you 30% and they want to keep 70. I don't feel really good about that. In my opinion, if I'm co-listing with someone and we're going to be sharing the work and, well, let me ask you this. Are you also sharing the expenses or are they paying for everything?
So I did ask, I didn't say yes, I
Okay.
just said, look, what are your expectations for me for those 30%? And she gave a list of 4 different points. And I mean, I could want to discuss with her more, but she always said things like, open a door for showings or like doing a broker tour, broken house together. And she also said, also more. That's pretty much, and it's the same thing with the translations, in Italian is, it's Italian and just speak Italian.
Okay, so for her, you're really just there to be present because you speak the language. She's paying for all the marketing, she's paying for all the photos, doing all that work. She needs you to show up for the showings and to be there for, the broker open so that you speak the language. And that's, still think 30% is a little low and I would attempt to negotiate that. However, if you don't have a lot of business right now, and this is a great way for you to get a listing under your name, this is a great way for you to learn from someone, and they're actually willing to allow you to learn. Like, are they going to show you everything they're doing so that you know when you get a listing exactly what to do? If it's a learning experience, then I might be willing to do it for less commission because you're going to be showing me along the way what I can do when I get the opportunity.
I don't think it is, because we're not gonna, not open doors, we're not gonna learn anything about the listing, presently listing, and, signing agreements, we're not gonna learn anything about negotiation with, these, with buyer's agents. So I don't think it is, I need to double check with her to make sure.
So here's what I will say. I'm willing to do it for the 30%. However, here's what I need from you. I need to be able to watch you run the comps, go through the process of listing this property. When you're negotiating, when you're all the steps that you go through as a listing agent, I want to be able to shadow you so that I can learn. If you're willing to show me so that I can learn, I'm willing to do it at this commission. That's what I would do. I feel like you should get something out of it besides money if you're doing it for that little split. And I think what you should be getting is an education on how to do it right. So when you have the opportunity for yourself, you've seen it before. It's not new. That's just my thought. We should always, like, anytime we get a listing and we share it with someone, we should be sharing that listing. We should be learning from that person who's helping us. I'm not just giving you money to give you money. What's in it for me? And so you need to find out what's in it for you, would be my suggestion. Yeah. So any final questions before I wrap it up here about anything? I'm cool. I'm here until 12:30. So anybody on Zoom or anybody here in the room have any questions?
I'm the productivity coach and
Ridgewood, you say, am I?
yeah.
No, I'm not the productivity coach. I run push, and I have the morning mindset call, and I do Scotch and scripts, and I run my push training program, which is teaching you how to learn the scripts, how to internalize scripts, how to overcome objections, and then how to master the entire listing presentation. I train the agents on how to pre-qualify to make sure it's an appointment you should be going on in the first place, how to put together a pre-listing packet, which is like your resume, everything you do to market a property, and then how to learn the presentation. Like, I want you knocking on that door like, hey, it's David, it's 12 o'clock, we have an appointment at 12. Can I come in? And saying that with confidence so that they are confident in you and see your value. And we go through the entire presentation. You learn how to overcome objections you get at the listing presentation, how to ask, tough questions, uncomfortable questions sometimes, and then more importantly, how to close so that you can get the listing paperwork signed when you're there. I'm a firm believer, if you walk away from that house and it's not signed, your chances of getting it signed are slim. So we have a conversation on how best to close when you're actually there. So that's what I do. I don't do the productivity coaching. I have this whole philosophy about living a life by design. And so I'm into some other things besides real estate, like nature and landscape photography. So I like to have a balance in my life. And so coaching is a big part of my life, but not my entire life, I guess is what I'll say. Yeah. So what I would encourage you guys to do, who currently in here is on the morning mindset call every Tuesday and Thursday? Do you guys know about the morning mindset call?
No,
Do you know about the morning mindset call?
I do, I need to.
Thank you. I'm glad you're on there. Hold on real quick. I see some hands up. Hold on. Denise and then Alexandra and then Cito. I'm going to tell you guys about that in a second. Denise, what's up?
No, you just asked if you're on the morning mindset.
Oh, okay. I looked over and I saw. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm glad you're on it. For those of you who are on the morning mindset call, could you say why it would be important for especially newer agents to be on that call? Like, what's the value that you guys get from being on that call?
You have a lot of different people with different, I don't know, everybody kind of helps each other.
Yeah.
Like, you get a lot of people on who give us good information. I think you have people that come on that give us a lot of value. And I learn something every time. I get little nuggets every time I listen to something. So, I appreciate you having that program. It really, helped me, and watching your videos and stuff like that. My mindset has changed. So it's more about the mindset. It's definitely helped. It's a support system too. So
It's a community, like you're with a community of like-minded agents, and that support is huge, because real estate can feel very lonely at times. And so it's good to know that you have people that you can lean on that will encourage you and push you. That's, to me, that's what I hear from a lot of people about the morning mindset call and why people should be on. So there's going to be an email sent out. You guys should be getting an email from this office. The morning mindset call is on Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 8:40. It goes for about 20 minutes. It's just you need to focus on your mindset. We talk about gratitude, we talk about affirmations, and we have special guests that come in. Judith, who's a broker for this office in Tenafly, was on this past Thursday talking about service animals and rentals, right? Ron Lagashi, that you guys know, he'll come on and talk about working with buyers. We'll do scripting and role play. We'll have special guests come in and talk about social media and why it's important to create content. It's just everything that you need to be hearing consistently over and over again to help you level up in real estate is what we cover on the morning mindset call. And it's only twice a week, so it's not a huge commitment, but it's agents from all over. So you get to build this network where you guys are here, but you're meeting agents in Ridgewood, and agents in Fort Lee, and sometimes agents in Florida or California or Virginia. Why is it important to know them? Well, guess what? You build a relationship up and they know someone here that's looking to sell their house, they're going to call you because they have this connection because you're part of that community. If you have someone who's moving to Florida, you know people that you can call that you see every day, and there's this relationship that's built up. So I think it's really important to be on the call. It's a great way to start your day a couple times a week, and you focus on gratitude like we do. It's kind of hard to stay in the negative places we sometimes find ourselves in because things are hard in real estate.
David, I go to Florida the next week for like 1 week or 10 days. I can visit the office there.
Yeah, you can visit Keller Williams offices worldwide. And here's the thing I'll tell you, you should. Because you can write that trip off as on your taxes. If you go down to another state or even another country and you go visit an office or go see some property or attend a meeting, then that's something that you can write off a portion of that trip on your taxes. It becomes a work expense. So I always make it a habit to do that when I travel.
I go to West Palm Beach and next to Orlando.
There you go. So I would do that and take pictures and document it, be able to show proof that you were there in Florida at doing some real estate work, and talk to your accountant about it and find the best way to actually write that off. But there's some benefits to that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it's good to just meet other agents that work in other parts of the country and build that referral opportunity up. So I would say absolutely, yes, you should be doing that. Let's see here.
I have a question actually, David.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of going back, I would say last week I had like an opportunity to preview like someone's home. So say you go to preview someone's home, would you kind of consider that maybe an opportunity to do like a listing presentation? Because I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to be like too pushy. But now I just realized that I saw yesterday that they put up a sign and they listed with somebody else. So I don't want to like miss out the opportunity, but I don't want to be too like pushy.
So a couple of things, Alexandra. So number one, you should always be prepared for anything to happen. And so what I recommend that you do in your car, keep like an accordion folder, always keep blank buyer agreements, listing agreements, right? Always have that in your car because you never know when a preview will turn into, well, how could you help us? And then you have this opportunity to help them. Once you're there, you want to be prepared to always go through your information when you're there, because if you leave that house, you may not get that opportunity again. And you just saw that the next day they listed with someone else. So you got to be ready to plug in if they're ready to have that conversation with you. So what I would say, and I'm here looking at the TV and I actually need to be looking here. I keep forgetting, sorry. What I would say to you, Alexandra, is yes, if I felt like I could turn that into a listing opportunity, I'm going to. I'm going to say to them like, hey, I saw the property online. I felt like I could sell it, but now that I'm here and having this conversation and I see that you're really motivated, now that I've seen the house, I know that I can help you. Would you be open to having a conversation right now on how I can best help you get the property sold? If they say yes, I'm going to go for it. And here's the one thing I learned, Alexandra, that I think will help you out tremendously. They will sign with you even without having a pricing recommendation. If they like everything you talk about and they like you and they feel comfortable with you, you can easily say, well, now all I need to do is go to my office and run some comparables, and I'm going to give you a range on where your home will sell. You'll pick the range, but I will get that set up. So let's go ahead and get the paperwork signed now. And then when I come back with those numbers, I can either come back and go over those with you, or I can call you and give you the range. You choose where we list it, and I'll fill in the paperwork and we'll get your house on the market. Is that okay? Like, you have that opportunity to get the listing signed without even having a solid price on the house. And they will sign with you. So I highly recommend, it's not being pushy, it's understanding that they're motivated and they're looking for someone who is going to be aggressive and get their property sold. And if you don't push for the opportunity and you just walk out the door, you're kind of showing them that you aren't aggressive enough. You're maybe not the agent that they want to hire. So I always believe that we should be closing. So close, and you'd be surprised at the outcome. People will list with you.
Yeah, I definitely saw like my mistakes that I made, but learned from them. So.
Well, that's the whole thing. You're either going to win it or you're going to learn. It's a teachable moment for you. And I guarantee you, because of that happening, the next time you'll go for it. And if they say no, that's okay, but at least there's no regret. You know that you put it out there and you ask for the opportunity. And that's what we have to do. We have to ask for the sale, ask for the business. And if they say no, that's okay. But it's not okay for us to not ask for the opportunity.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me see what else I have here. Yeah, Denise, it's really tough to be a dual career agent. When I started in real estate, I was living in Texas. I worked in corporate America for 14 years. I worked for a company called Kaplan Test Prep, and I started doing real estate part-time. And I was, doing that part-time until I felt I'm doing enough part-time that if I was doing this full-time, I could be successful. And what I learned, and this is what I tell everybody that I come across, it's hard being a dual career agent and working with buyers, because the times that they expect you to be out showing them property are times that you typically may not be available. What I loved about working with sellers is that I could call seller leads on my break, in the evening, on the weekends. I could talk to for sale by owners and expireds when I had availability. And then I could set up listing appointments based on my availability. And the sellers would meet with me when I was available. Just like if you had to go to the dentist or the doctor or see a lawyer, you will show up when that professional is available for you. Because it's not about their schedule, it's about when they're available to see you. So I learned, Denise, that by going after sellers, it was so much easier for me to transition from being dual career into real estate full-time, because I had more control of my schedule, and all the activities I didn't have time to do, I could leverage it out. I could tell an agent in my office, hey, I got these new listings, you can have all the open houses, and any leads you get from them, you can keep. I wasn't greedy. I knew I didn't have time to do the open houses myself, and I didn't really want to do them anyhow because I had young daughters and I wanted to be home. So I would tell people, you take my open houses, anything you get from them are yours. You don't have to split anything with me. I just need you to be there and be professional, and here's how I want you to do things. The home inspections, the appraisals, everything could be leveraged out, and I could always pay someone $15 or $20 an hour to go to that home inspection for me so that I could be working. And so I would say, yes, it can be difficult being a dual career agent. And yet, if you focus on working with sellers, you have so much more control of your schedule. And once you do a few of them in your spare time, you quickly realize, if I can just leverage my time now and do more of this, I can make the income I need to make to step away from my full-time job. So that has always been my philosophy based on my own personal experience. I found when I tried to work with buyers, all the time I should have been at home supporting my wife and being with my kids, I was out in the streets working with buyers, and it just wasn't very conducive to the lifestyle I wanted. And I had to take what they were willing to pay me as a buyer agent And as a listing agent, I negotiated my commission up front. I knew I was getting 3%. If I took a buyer out, it might be 1.75 or 2%, and I wasn't making as much. So that's the reason why I like being on the seller side of things more than on the buyer side. Hopefully that makes sense. Yes, Ariane, that's how we met doing open houses, and the open house that I was doing was a for sale by owner that I converted. So yes. Let me see here. So I just talked to someone here at the office, and Denise, you wrote, you can get many no's. The person told me that for them, no meant next opportunity. Like, are you telling me no? Let me, next opportunity. For me, no always meant not yet. They still might work with me, but they were telling me no for right now. I just had to continue to follow up, stay in touch, and show my value. And eventually I could turn that into them possibly working with me. I mean, think about this, be honest with me. You guys go shopping and you walk into a store. When the salesperson comes up and says, can I help you? Don't we all say, no, I'm good. No, I don't need help. It's that reflexive no we all give. And so I've learned when people tell me no, they're not really telling me no. They're not ready, or I haven't shown my value, or I haven't asked enough questions, or I haven't closed. It's just a not yet. It's encouragement for me to stay in touch and do my job and follow up. And eventually, yeah, they start off getting 50 calls a day, but by week 5, they're maybe getting 2 or 3 calls a day. And if I've connected with them, if I understand their motivation, if I'm doing my job, I earn a seat at the table. I at least earn the opportunity to sit down with them and show them what I can do. Now, when I open my mouth, I either win or lose the opportunity, which is why I say we got to be practicing all the time. However, you will earn the opportunity if you follow up. In this business, it's all about follow-up. Your follow-up has to be strong. All right, folks on Zoom, thanks for being here. And I encourage you guys to continue to stay plugged in. Do not give up on this thing called real estate. And more importantly, don't sit around waiting for motivation. Don't sit around waiting for inspiration. Just know what your job is every day. We got one job every day. Anybody know what that one job is every day that we should be doing? Legion.
Prospecting.
Prospecting. That's it, every day. Who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest? And you have your name tag on. You're pumping gas. You're checking out at the grocery store. You're at the bank. You're at the grocery store. Anybody you talk to, hey, I'm a local real estate agent. I was just curious, who do you know that I should be talking to right now that wants to buy, sell, or invest? If it's them, they'll tell you me. If they know someone, they'll tell you. If they don't know anybody, they'll tell you that too. The problem is we come in contact with so many people every day, and they don't even know we're a real estate agent. We're a secret agent. We don't have our information out in front of us. I mean, I got purposeful about it. Like, I'm at a restaurant or a coffee shop, like, you see what I am and what I do. I have my push information on here. You could have something on here that says, ask me about the local real estate market. People, everywhere you go, there should be no guess of who you are and what you do. People should know that. You should have your name tag on. And you should start creating conversations. I got a listing at my daughter's school, which I shared earlier. I got a listing at Oakland ShopRite in their liquor store buying wine. Someone saw my name tag and we started talking about wine. I gave them my card, ended up listing their house. Like, I've gotten opportunities everywhere because I got out of my comfort zone. I'm an introvert. I'm not shy, I'm just an introvert, right? Which means I don't like being around a lot of people. I like to kind of be by myself doing my own thing. But I recognize in real estate, to be successful, you got to be willing to get out there and just talk to people. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm new, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
go for
need
it.
a lot of information for
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
I have a business with my husband. We have, we sell grocery to the supermarket in
Okay.
New York and New Jersey.
Okay.
And yesterday I was in the supermarket in New York and I told to the manager, oh, now I'm in Radney State. If you need something, I'm here. And he told me, oh, I'm interested, but maybe I need to buy the house in New York. What I can do because I'm in New Jersey.
Yeah, so great question. So first of all, kudos to you, because that's exactly what you need to be doing with everyone you talk to.
Mhm.
And look at that, you brought it up and he needs to buy property. So what I recommend you do is find the agent that works for KW in New York.
I work for KW.
There you go, right there. There you go.
Oh, nice.
And so then it's like, well, it's fantastic. What I want to do is make sure you're in capable hands, because I don't handle New York. I have a great agent that I can recommend to you that can help you.
Okay,
Then you refer it out and you get paid a 25% referral fee.
okay,
So this is why it's so important. Look, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. I lived in Los Angeles, Austin, Houston, and Dallas. I know people all over.
okay,
And so I let them know, like, hey, I just want to remind you, I'm in real estate. I know I don't live out there, but I have a connection everywhere.
okay.
And so if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, call me first, and I'll make sure to partner you up with someone who's just like me that you know will get business done. I've earned so much money. I think last year in referral fees, I made like 11 grand just in referrals.
Okay, and I have a lot of family in Florida.
There you go. They need to be hearing from you constantly.
And I have a lot of friends who.
They have KW and DR, I think. I'm pretty sure they have a KW and the DR. So you should be telling your friends, hey, and family, just because I'm in New Jersey, I can still help you. I can make sure you're partner up with a great agent that's going to help you. So if you or anyone you know is looking to buy, sell, or invest, call me and let me send you a great referral that can help you. That's what you should be doing. Great question.
Okay.
Yeah, very good question. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, Denise. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Hava. I'm gonna end this on Zoom real quick. See you guys later on. Thank you. Don't forget, guys, I'm doing scripts live next Wednesday at Stone and Rails in Glen Rock. So you guys are all welcome. We'll be there hanging out at 5 o'clock. So.
Can't wait.
All right, come hang out. I'll see you guys later on.
All right, I'll
Thank
be there
you.
like 5:30-ish.
All right, sounds